بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. باسم عماد كلية هندسة المعلومات في جامعة النهرين، نرحب بالحضور الكرام، وعلى بركة الله نبدأ ورشة العمل الموسومة التطور البحثي في مجال الاتصالات والشبكات وكيفية الرقي بالبحث العلمي في الجامعات العراقية، يلقيها الأستاذ الزائر الدكتور حامد صفار رويجتي من جامعة برعاية في المملكة المتحدة. بالبداية نرحب بسيادة وكيل وزير الاتصالات السيد أمير البياتي لحضور الورشة، وبالسادة الضيوف من كافة دوائر الدولة والشركات وأساتذتنا الكرام. يتفضل الأستاذ الدكتور حامد لإلقاء محاضرته. الأستاذ الزائر الدكتور حامد الرويجدي هو الآن بروفيسور في هندسة الاتصالات ومدير مركز بحوث الاتصالات والشبكات اللاسلكية ومدير الدراسات العليا في جامعة برونو لندن في المملكة المتحدة. قام بنشر أكثر من 400 بحث في مجلات ومؤتمرات عالمية، كما قام بتأليف كتاب متخصص وساهم في كتابة فصول من 14 كتابا، وله مساهمات عديدة بشكل كتابة وايت بيبرز في مجال الاتصالات والشبكات. وتوجهاته البحثية الحالية هو بالجيل الخامس والجيل السادس والإرسال بالموجات المليلترية للباند المحصور بين 200 إلى 300 جيجا هرتز، والذكاء الصناعي والSDN والIoT والحوسبة السحابية. بالإضافة إلى ما ذكر أعلاه، فإن الأستاذ حامد ساهم بأشكال مختلفة ومنذ عام 2004 بدعم التعليم العالي من خلال شبكة الأساتذة المغتربين ومشاريع دلفي لتطوير التعليم العالي، ورئاسة مؤتمر علمي في ICFCN في 2012، ولديه تعاون علمي مع عدد من الجامعات الحكومية والكليات الأهلية. تفضل أستاذ الدكتور. ورشة العمل تتضمن شقين اليوم إن شاء الله. المقدمة راح تكون عن تطور البحث في مجال الاتصالات والشبكات، والشق الثاني هو كيفية الرقي بالبحث العلمي في الجامعات العراقية.
As the chairman said, that there are two parts of today's presentation. One of them is future research topic for ICT, and the second part is how to develop research in Iraq in general, not only in universities. My name is I'm going to talk about different topics which is related to ICT. The reason behind we doing some kind of research, and the research now directions has been really slightly different from 5 years ago, and this is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons is that we need to think carefully about what's going on. If you look to 2016, we have 7 exabytes. In 2017, more or less, 35% has been an increase. And if you go from one year to another, you see we reach 49. We are going to reach 49 by 2021. Imagine in Baghdad, most of you living in Baghdad, and there are about 1 million cars. I'm not sure if it is 1 million cars, but if we assume there is 1 million cars, and suddenly we will have 5 million cars, what's going to happen? I will assure you it's better to come walking from your home to here rather than to drive the car. So we need to think about this And I think this is one of the problems we're going to face it, especially in Iraq. And I don't want to mention something because I even don't believe that Iraq has 3G yet. And all the countries, everywhere, apart maybe from Palestine, for a reason or another, they have 4G now. And most of the European, Asian, American, they have a field trial in 5G started a few months ago, and definitely we're going to see 5G 2020. Even in the Gulf country like Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and so on. Now, if you look here, you will see that the number of smartphones, machine to machine, is changing. And this is one of the reasons. If you remember 10 years ago or maybe 20 years ago, you will see most of us just using the phone to call people. And gradually people start sending videos and some other thing which will need a huge amount of bandwidth. And we need to think about these things, as I said, in the future. I'm not going to spend my time because there are so many slides. I'm going to skip here because they asked me first for 3 hours and then 2 hours and now I think. Okay, right. So if you look to the mobile video traffic, again, if you see this mobile video which is in a green color, you will see how much we have each year, and in 2020 or 2021, we will have a huge amount of data. So we need to think about this carefully. Now I'm coming to say something about the research topic. Now when I mention something here, it doesn't mean that this is the only topics that we need to investigate. There are a lot of things we need to investigate, but this is part of it, which is HCRAN, beamforming, MIMO, CDI, artificial intelligence, in fact, is everywhere. So whoever here working on AI, you need to think about it. Everything now in communication about AI. And then, of course, futuristic fiber optics, which is unfortunately in Iraq, I haven't seen optical fiber. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there is some optical fiber, but there isn't anything from South Iraq to North Iraq, which is East and West fiber. Without the fiber, you can't do anything. You can't do because the fiber has a huge bandwidth. So we need to have a fiber. And the infrastructure for the internet is fiber. So we need fiber. No matter what we're going to do with the wireless, even if we're going to work with terahertz, then we're not going to be reaching the fiber. Now, the second part, and if you look here, I don't work on 5G now because I will not be able to get money from companies. I will not be able to publish if I will say anything. I need to work on 5G beyond. I need to work on 6G. And this is very important that we need people in Iraq to work on certain area to be able to develop certain kind of research. If you're going to stay to the last minute of this lecture, then I could tell you, I have a proof for you. You have great people here, but you need to utilize them. And the government spent a lot of money about the new generation, which they went abroad and they came back. I'm not saying that all of them are great, but at least 30 to 40%. And in fact, we have great people as well as a lecturer here, whether lecturer or professors or whatever. We have some of them. But we don't need 100%. We need 10%, 15, 20, and we could develop everything. So please, we need some people to act swiftly, okay, about these things. Now, the second part, which is IoT. Of course, I mean, there are something networking, but now all the work IoT is related to networking. So we have IIoT, which is industrial Internet of Things. And I could tell you, within the next 2-3 years, and in fact, there are a lot of companies now, they started with the IoT, but I think within the next 2-3 years, everything in industry will be about IoT. And then we started working with something called I-IoT, which means I think one of the students is not arrived yet. He done some good publication about intelligent IoT. And the reason why we put here a hyphen, because I want to distinguish between the IIoT and the intelligent one. Solar energy, cloudification, fogs, all this is computer networking. By the way, now communication networks and computer networks, both of them relate to each other. Sensor networks and actuators. I don't want to sense only something. I need to have actuator. If this room has a temperature of 30 degrees, then I need to switch on the, whatever you call it, air conditioning or okay, let me start now with, I'm going to go about this here. This is the base station. A few years ago, we have a base station, and then we have everything in figure 1 on the left, which is A, and then we have developed something using optical fiber. But now what we have, something which is, you have a small antenna. Unfortunately, I need to use my hand because this one is not working. If you look here, this is a simple, very cheap and simple. We call it RRH, which is remote radio. Just a converter and amplifier, and then there is a fiber, and then there is what we call it baseband unit. And all the process will be here. And this is the first step. I will show you the second step and third step. We have something to decrease the cell. As everybody knows, that when you are further from the base station, you're going to transmit lower data rate and more power. But if you come closer to the base station, you will be able to transmit a huge amount of data. As I said, because we will have a huge amount of data, there are so many ways to be able to transmit the data. One of them is to be nearest to the base station. The other one is to improve the spectral efficiency. The third one is to have a huge bandwidth. Who is going to give you a huge bandwidth? Do you know how much in UK in 2001 they sold a bandwidth to 4 operators? It cost $44 billion. $44 billion. And the spectrum is something, it's called national security. Nobody could touch it. I could tell you, if you go and somebody steal your car, okay, and you go to the police, then you could do a report, either they will find your car or not. But if you transmit without permission, I could tell you, you will never ever stay for more than 10 minutes. I could assure you that. This is a national security. Right. So we have went from the 2G, large cell, smaller cell, and LTE, LTEA, which is LTEA, as you know, is 4G, and now in 5G we have much smaller cells. Right, this is the vision. I'm going to skip up because it's very difficult now within the limited time. Just to give you an idea what we have done here, this is one of the work which is done by the student, not by me. The idea of this is that you have something here which is on the top called SUN, which is self-organizing network, and we have added artificial intelligence to this to enable that this part here will be able to choose one of those cells or 2 or 3 to prevent any lock of the user. Because, you know, when there is a capacity, each one of those here will be able to serve number of people. If you exceed this number, the other user will be blocked, and we don't want to see this case. So we have been able to do something. As you know, you see here there are some names for the student. One of them, he is from Iraq, and in fact this one he returned back to Iraq. I could assure you, I'm going to come to this later on, but I don't want to repeat this. Any researcher will leave research for 1, maximum 2 years, just say research has been done. No way you're going to proceed, especially in this area. Communication is kind of very dynamic. Within 2 years, 3 years, if I bring you now papers or books, you read it, you say, this is something wrong. It is not wrong. At that time, it was 100% correct. But now it is not correct because, developing everything in the communication. Now, as you see here, we have used here several kinds of AI. By the way, we used to have AI in a specific area. Now, in the physical layer, network layer, service layer, all of it, there is AI. So please try to learn something about AI. And we have been able to calculate to improve the blocked users here. And then we have been able, I give you example, just to give you an example. If you assume each one of BBU like a base station here, BB1, BB2, and you look to the colors, and let us assume that each BBU will be able to serve only 20 users. I took this example just to make things simple for you. Now, if you look sector 1, there are 15 and 15 users, which means 30 users. The capacity of the BBU1 is only 20. It means we're going to lose 10 users. What we have done, we have arranged everything here, and we allow that the BBU1 will be serving the green one, change, and then the blue one, and then the yellow one. If you look here, we have only one block user. So we have improved it by 1,000 times. So this is the way that we use the artificial intelligence with the CRAN. The other thing is something which is beyond 5G. We have been able to shrink the cell to small cell, to smaller cell, and so on. And we have been able to do the same thing as we have done here. Again, this is one of the things when we added some kind of management service in these loads. Extreme densification shrink the cell as much as possible to increase the number of users. All this, I'm going to skip this because we don't have time for it. Just here to show you those people who are interested. We have measured the quality of service, which is the most important parameter for any network, and we have been able to give away, it depends on the application, to the block user and to the forced handover. You know, when you have a small cell, it means you have so many handover when you go from one cell to another cell. And we need to minimize this because this will load the network. And this is what we have done it here. If you look here from this one, unfortunately the pointer is not working. You will see that we changed something and we have reduced in this figure the number of blocked users. Okay? And this is the result here for our this is the way that we do densification. If you look here, this is a large cell, and then we divided the cell to a small cell. So you put active RH, which is very cheap, to put it here, and you could do several levels, depends on the user, on your application. And if you look here, this is what we have done again. Again, this is another paper from your own people. Some of them from your own people, and some from different countries. And this is the result here. This is using a new radio. There is something called the new radio, which is helping us to shrink the cell. Again, if you look here, this is some people here, which is one of them from University of Baghdad, or two of them from University of Baghdad. Look, this is a top journal, okay, which is IEEE. This is something which is, I don't know if the student is here, she just arrived, okay, which she implemented something with gigahertz, millimeter wave. She has been able to do even with 60 gigahertz, and we have done the generation for this 60 gigahertz, and we transmit it wirelessly, because as you know, there is FSO, which is a free space optics, or through the optical fiber, we call it ROF. This is millimeter ROF, and sometimes we have a hybrid for a reason or another. The reason why we use free space or we use a hybrid, because we need to minimize the delay. And as everybody knows, that when you have optical fiber, you will have more delay. So sometimes what you will try to do is to give something, but with the fiber, you will be able to transmit a huge amount of data. Again, the student here is a new university now, and I think we need to, I'm sure there are a lot of people here sitting here, which is, maybe I haven't shown because I don't have enough slide to put it here. There is no time for it. So, but I'm going to mention them later on to prove to you that you guys, you will be able to carry an excellent research. And I don't understand why you don't want to do it. There is a reason behind it. Okay, and I wish somebody will tell me why you don't do the research. Okay, which is, I'm going to come to this later on. Now, this is a millimeter wave with massive MIMO and beam. As you know, there is something called MIMO, which is multiple input, multiple output. You have 10 antenna at the receiver and 10 antenna or whatever at the transmitter. The old fashion, you have one antenna at the transmitter and the receiver. Now, we have something which is called massive MIMO, more than 1, maybe 2, 4, 5, 6, 10. But when you go above 100, they call it massive MIMO. And you could do that, okay? Now, beamforming, we use, what we use? Generally, we transmit a signal called isotropic, omnidirectional. So you transmit signal to everybody. Now, if I am standing here and transmit signal to those people, there are nobody here, but I could transmit only power for you. So I'm wasting some of the power. So I could direct signal, and I could direct the signal like this, okay? Right, so this is now we started, this is a 6G. And we started this, we already have a student started January, and we will have, we have a project as well, which is sponsored by one of the company, and we're going to start working on this project within the next 2 months, okay? Today it was, I think, the deadline for submitting the CV and everything. Those are something which will show you here the bandwidth, and for each of those generations, look to the bandwidth here, okay? And then when we reach to a certain level, we're going to increase the data rate. And all communication is about data rate. It is about capacity. It is about power. This is all what we do, believe me. It is all about data rate, capacity, end-to-end delay, and so on. So we try to do something here. But if you look here, no matter what you increase in wireless, you're not going to go above the fiber, because this is a huge competition. There is something here which is wireless, and there is something here fiber. There are a lot of companies, they spend a lot of money, and no way those companies will allow the wireless people to transmit higher power, higher data rate. So always, whenever the wireless will improve, which has been improved, then the fiber people go to improve it more and more. Right. The reason why we are interested to work on this range, doesn't look nice. Now I put my hand here. Anyway, the reason why we work with 200 to 300, if you look here, it is very low attenuation comparing with the others. Okay, and in fact, from now, this is called 0.1. This is called 0.1 terahertz. So some of the researchers start saying anything above 100 gigahertz, they call it terahertz. And if you look here, you will see a lot of work now started, okay, to implement something. Now, how we will be able to deal with these things, God knows, because we don't have, if you want to do practical things, you need spectrum analyzer, and you need a fabrication in a way. So anyway, people are starting doing this, and this will show you how we are transmitting signal rather than we transmit to everybody. There is beamforming here, and this is here. There is artificial intelligence on both sides and beamforming with this is the things between 200 and 300K. Look, this is what we have. You could have 100 antenna at least on one mobile, and this is the pence. This is a British pence. So it's even less than this. So what you could do in your mobile, you could put here 100 and here 100 and here 100 and here 100, because this will be less than. Of course, you can't say this is a dream, but all the research is a dream. Okay, and then you will see it. As long as you dream properly, you don't see it. And you could dream better than anybody else. This is something I'm going to skip. Security of IoT. Now we have a problem with security everywhere. No, do you think only in Iraq? Everywhere, because the hacker, no matter what you are going to do, they will find a way. Okay? Now we need to find when you will have everything. What do you think? In the next future, I'm sure within the next 3 years, from your mobile, you could access anything at your home. So security is very important. So, and now security with IoT is very important. I'm going to show you something. Let me skip those. Those are what we are working on it. I have a student who worked in Ericsson who is now started this kind of IoT security with AI. Okay? I'm not revealing anything. Look, research, you could share it with anybody, okay? Unless somebody will ask me not to do so. This is one of the students, again, this is from your own country, okay? This is student work in a good university in Japan, okay? And he developed something, and he's going to come and work with me within the next few months. He developed a certain idea of what we call quantum key distribution. Anybody working on security, I advise you to think and read about quantum key distribution or anything related to security in a quantum way. And this is what we want to do with you. This is another thing which we have developed. Again, this student came back here and he's working in one of the Iraqi university, and look, this is IEEE ACM. It's not a joke, and he has been able to implement. This is in our lab. He implemented 240. Some of them virtual machine, and the rest is here. There are some other computers somewhere we can't get a photo for everything. This is another area which is about the Internet of Things. Now, if you look to this one, what we have implemented in the, what do you call it, wind turbine. No, where you put your wind turbine to be able to get the highest efficiency. And usually they go and send people and they try. What we have done, we have implemented a drone or quadcopter here, and then we have measure where is everything here, and then we send it to the cloud, and of course to the SDN, and then to the cloud. Again, this is one of the, he's not working here, but he's he's Iraqi. And this is what we have implemented in the lab. So this is experimental. If you look, I am sure some of you recognize this is actually a university. Okay? This is another one, which is when you have a wind turbine, sometimes the sensor will be a malfunction, and they stop everything if in this case, and this will have effect on the grid. So what we have been able to do is to have a drone and to have a sensor, extra sensor within the wind turbine. So if there is a malfunction, we go and let the other sensor working, and we check the sensor and then repair it again. And this is what we have developed in the lab. I mean, this is the student. Another thing which is, this is what we call it tactile internet, where you have your master domain, and then you transmit it through the communications, and then you have here something where you will be able to control anything or do, for example, you could do an operation. Now, one of the problems here with the tactile, there are specific applications which is very, very sensitive to a delay. So we need to find and calculate a way that the delay will not exceed a specific amount of time. Otherwise, there will be a problem in the system. This is something which is, unfortunately, again, you need electrical energy, and you don't have solar much here in Iraq. And as you know, it doesn't mean that because we have a hot summer which is coming soon, that as you increase the temperature, we're going to get more power. No, this is because the average is 27 degrees, 30. I'm not expert in solar energy, but I'm starting learning. But we have used something like SDN, Big Data, Hadoop. Again, the student here published in IEEE, and he is back to Iraq. He's working in one of the university. This is not USB line. Okay, so sorry. This is another work which is regarding a sensor network. We developed a new protocol for this one here, and if you look here, the developed protocol has a much better, okay, result than the way. Again, the student here from Iraq in IEEE, and she came to Iraq. This is another things which is to have energy efficient hybrid multi-protocol with the sleep mode. The student hasn't came yet, I don't know why, but he came back to Iraq and he implemented everything in the Mac layer. Okay, he published it in I think 2019, this one, which is just in January, and the student came back here now. This is another work which is to improve the network quality of service. Again, the two students, not one, came back to Iraq, and they have been able to implement a certain kind of protocols again and measure all the quality of service. And finally, there is one of your member of staff working. I don't know why this is but this is kind of what we are carrying on now, where we will have a sleep mode with the sensor, and we have something intelligent. It's not here maybe to the people in the back. This is called intelligent STM. All this has been done. I have another student. This is not from Iraq, but he is a great student. He worked in a big company as well. He is trying. We have been able to get information from a data, from a big operator called 3. and we signed NDA with them, and they gave us a data for 3 years for certain peaks in a week. And from this data, what we need to do to have a specific AI which will be able to predict, hopefully, 1-2 hours. Now we are reaching about 10 minutes. So if we tell the operator in 10 minutes there will be a disaster, they will be able to do something in that area. Now, when we discuss it with them, they have been very happy with 10 minutes, but they say, as you know, they are greedy, so they say, could we do it at half, 1 day or even 1 week? And this is here, the area. In fact, this data, they will never give it to anybody unless they sign NDA with them. And they send us this amount of information, huge amount of information. To be able to understand this data, you need really to spend some time. And then you need to apply a specific kind of, and this, if you look here, this is where the peak, because sometimes there is not much users. You could switch off the cells while you spend money. You know, 40% of the power will go to the air conditioning. And why you want to switch on if there is no user? And or you could maybe serve the user from the other cell. And this is the kind of the neural network. We have used different neural network, and now we're trying to use a spiky neural network, which will have a higher speed. Thank you very much. Sorry to bother you. I'm going to start because this is what I think is the most important bit, which is I came to give a lecture about.
شكرا جزيلا. تقدر تقعد يعني اذا
لا let me finish.
اوكي. اذا ممكن المايك استخدم.
Okay, my second part of the lecture, which is you need to bear with me and excuse me from the start because, well, what I could do. Anyway, this is self-development in Iraqi's university. And please let us do it now. When I say Iraqi universities, it's not only in Iraqi university, because I believe if there is a research here, we will have a research in Ministry of Telecom or whatever other places which is related. I mean, look, communication is the main part for defense, main part for interior ministry, for intelligence, everything. So we need to concentrate on this. Right. Let me tell you one story. Since they invite me to give a lecture, I start, and this is the best way, when somebody will ask you to give a presentation, you start, put something. So I start, put some PowerPoint and think of the research, and because I do visit Iraq, I know a lot of great people here, which is much better than me, which is here. Either they have been with me or they have been, I know them after that, but you have a good number of staff. So I start putting some slides, but then after 2 weeks, I remember I gave a presentation 15 years ago. I think either in 2014 or, 2003, end of it, or 2004, I gave a presentation. So I took this presentation and compared it with the presentation that I have done. You know what I have seen? Most of the slide is similar to 15 years ago, because this is the way. If you write a paper 10 years ago and you read it now, what is this? This is rubbish, because this is 10 years. If you don't see that, this paper is not great, because now it's everything changing. But when you have a vision to develop something, then the vision will stay the same. I don't think it will be changed much. But anyway, I tried to change a bit here and pieces. And look to this. I would like, to do. I started thinking why always when we give a presentation we put list of content, and then I said, okay, let me do something new, because I need to do a revolution. Okay, I don't want to do evolution. I want to do a revolution. If you like it, then I said conclusion. The first slide. All developed countries have excellent research at their university. It must. And don't tell me no. If you go to any country, developed countries, you will see that they have in their university excellent research, which is, unfortunately, we don't have such thing in Iraq. So why we insist about the university? Why? Because it is the instrument of economic and social policy. It is very important. Look, from university we get the engineer, we got medical doctor, we got a lawyer, a solicitor, everything. So if we don't have a good, and believe me, if you don't have good research, you don't have a good university. So when we should start? Yesterday? Today? Please not tomorrow. Please, you need to start as soon as possible. There should be people, they have a power, a decision to say, look, let us do something. I say as soon as possible. What do you need in research? Look to what we need in research and compare it with what we have. All what we need in research, the most important thing is a human resource. If you don't have a good people, you will not be able to deliver a research. Okay? So this is one thing. And remember that even if you go to top university, you will not see everybody doing great research. You will see some people, they don't do much research. Some people, they do 50%, some people 70%, and some people, they do 100%. So not everybody doing the research. So we have people, and I could tell you one thing. When I started this 15 years ago or 16 years ago, I was thinking to bring young people from certain area, which is, they would not cost me much, like India, Pakistan, maybe at that time even China, but I could tell you now, if you advertise and ask for a research assistant from China, he would never come here. First of all, you're not going to give him much money. The other thing, he could do research in China. And the second one, so the human resources means skills, vision. We have people who have vision. We have so many fantastic academic staff here in the university. I'm not saying every academic staff, I need to be honest with you. But at least we have 10 to 20%, at least. Okay, and we have somebody who would like to do something. And the second point, this is what killing me, financial resources. I was dreaming when I came here and they say Iraq, they have a lot of money. I said, okay, I'm going to get some millions here with me. But then I haven't been able to do anything. So I have a very nice diagram about how I am going to develop this research. Okay? But then after that, I get this lower, and now I have the minimum. And I could start with the minimum, and I could assure you, sorry, when I say I'm so sorry, I don't mean I. Because those guys, the young people, the academic staff, which is brilliant staff, those people, they are going to carry the research, okay? But I think now we will be able to deal with, even with the minimum, if we have the minimum, we could start, but this will take maybe 7, 10 years. But if I have enough money, I could tell you, within 5 years, we will be able to get money, and we don't want money from any other resources. Right. I want just to give you some figures here, and this is very important. And I have been shocked few days ago when I went to Google most of the information is not from me. It is from Mr. Google. He's a very close friend of mine. Sometime. Now, I saw some countries, which is, I can't imagine they put a certain percentage of their GDP, of their money, to the research. And I said, I need to put it here. And those countries, you want to see it. I want to make a surprise for it. And remember, if you have 4% from, say, a country like Yemen, it could be maybe £1 million. But if you have 0.1% from GDP, and this is from, say, Saudi Arabia or United Arab Emirates, then it could be few billions. Now, if you look here, this is the research in Europe 2008. UK Research Council, they put 2.8 billion for research. 2.8 billion, this is pounds, not dollars. And when it was in 2008, £1 equivalent to $2. EU, they have 54 billion over 7 years. My question, and I wish somebody will answer my question, is how much Iraq spent today on research? And all countries, they have something called the Research Council everywhere. But look, I'm not asking you to have a research council now. We need just a research center. We don't want the research council. Because if we will have a research council, we will end up somebody sitting upstairs, going to somewhere and get the money, and then the researcher will not get anything. I need to have a research center. This is, again, something about the money from different countries. I don't want to bother you. This is another one. But if you look here, this is what I like here. This is something about the budget of UK. And this is from 2010 to 2011. If you look, the highest budget went to the social protection, 196. And if you go to the health, 122 billion. But if you go to education, they put 89 billion. You see, this is in 2010. I could assure you, if you go to Mr. Google, my friend, just tell him Hamid is my friend, he will show you that the first one is social security, and then the second one is education. So health, social, and education. Okay? Right. This is the table which shocked me. But look, South Korea, anybody went to South Korea, they would know the meaning of South Korea, okay? South Korean, they put 4.292 from their GDP. Taiwan, which is not very rich country, 3.1. Do you know that in 70s and 80s and even 60s, our Iraqi university, and I'm responsible about this, it was the best, not one of the best, no, it is the best on all this area. No university will better be, I mean, some of our top university like Baghdad, Nahrain wasn't there, and Mosul University as well, some other university, the University of Technology. We have better universities than Turkey, Iran, Egypt, those the top now, and of course the Gulf, all the Gulf, okay? And then if you look here, Israel, Malaysia, they are not very rich, they put 1.3, Singapore. And if you look to Egypt, this is what's surprising. Egypt, they have 0.68. And then Sudan. Do you think Sudan, they put money to, this is not from me, believe me, this is Mr. Google. If you don't believe me, you go and blame him. And there are some other countries, I haven't got time to do. There is Bahrain, I haven't put Qatar or Saudi Arabia because those people, they have enough money. Okay, let us come back now. What are the steps to promote research? And those are very important. First one is research environment. And this is very important to have a research environment. Active, a high speed. You have a problem. You need to activate a high speed internet. I don't care how you're going to bring the internet. I know there is no full optical fiber, but there are so many other ways to have a high speed internet. The other thing is you should have access to the papers. You don't have access to the paper. Look, how are you going to learn? If you want to learn something, you need to have access to books, journals, anything. If you don't have access, how are you going to deliver things? This is impossible. And you need to establish something research center. We need to have a high caliber student. Not everybody will go to do a PhD. I don't want just people to do a PhD to get a degree at this moment. I need people which they will get a degree, but they will develop something. Okay? We need research fund. Who is going to give the research fund? I don't know. X, Y, Z. I have names in my mind, but I think some people, they say don't mention the names. It's better not to mention names. Availability of research funds. We need to establish something called postdoc. When anybody will finish a PhD, let us give him 3 years to do a postdoc and pay him. To have high incentive. Look, why people do research? I don't do research if I don't get something from it. Why I need to stay after 5 o'clock? We go there, we go from 9 to 5. This is how we go there. Here, I think from 11 till 1. Anyway, so from 9 to 5, but believe me, sometimes we stay till 11. And sometimes we work at 9. If we want to get something, deadlines for a project, deadline for submission something, and so on. But we need to have incentive. Why I do this? I could go and enjoy myself rather than to sit in the room and do some work and the weather there is cold. Because I know if I want to go from lecturer to a senior lecturer and I need a promotion without this publication or without this project, forget about it. If I am a senior lecturer and go and see a reader without this, I will not be. If I want to go to the top level as a prof, without publication, without a project, forget about it at all. So we need to think about it. The other thing, if I will be a lecturer and I spent 40 years in the university, believe me, my salary will stay this. Now, if I want to get more money, I don't need to spend time. I need to go to senior lecturer. So I need publication and a project. If I want to go a reader, then if I want to be prof, get more money, I need to be prof. So the money will be paid to me according to my title. If I am a prof, I will get the highest money, and then I will increase from time to time. But if I am a lecturer or even senior lecturer, I am going to stay, okay, Samar, yes? So I'm going to stay to the last point. So this is very important here to make incentive to the people who work here rather than to adopt the existing system. I believe without conference, what do you think? How I get this 6G, AI, whatever you call it. This is not everybody know about it, but I go and meet people, discuss with them, go to several things where they will write a white paper. This white paper which tell the vision for the next 5 to 10 years. When I sit there and hear that there is something within, of course I'm going to contribute in my area, but I'm not expert in AI, or I am not expert in beamforming. When I hear this, then I get this and then go to Bilal and say, look, let us work with this. Or maybe sometime to Russia or Ammar or whatever. So you need to have people at least once a year go to a conference. I'm not saying all the member of staff will go to a conference. No, only those people that have skills. And then university ranking. Come on, we need to improve our university ranking. It's very important. And why do you think we need to be like X, Y? I don't want to mention names. As I said before, we used to be the best university in this Middle East area. So we need to think internationally. I could tell you, if you start in the first step, you're going to be able to go ahead quickly. You need to utilize, there are some people which they have expertise in medicine, in communication, in mechanics. You need to utilize them. If they would be able to come here, not everybody would be interested in. And we need to facilitate the open access, reward and minimization, and this is very important. Promotion, as I said, for academic staff should depend on research output. And not every paper. Come on, I've seen a lot of things here, which is somebody published in, we call it in the old days, we call it, there is a journal, and you remember it called مجلة والمزمار. Come on, don't publish in this. When you put this, if you send it to me, when I look to it, I have to cross on it. Try to think of something which is really, at least it has certain kind of impact factor. Okay? In the future, if I am you, I will never, I heard that now only the first and second and third student will be employed. Don't employ anybody. And if I will be here and I have the power, I would say, if you don't do research, okay, then please, you have 2 years and go away. Why? This place should be one of the best places. We have been taught and supervised by a great lecturer, and they are in front of me. Okay, no more funds and conference sponsorship for those they don't do research. Who's going to carry the research? Guys, you're going to carry research with your PhD student. So the academic staff going to manage and supervise, and they will get the idea and give it to the PhD student, and the PhD student will deliver everything. Bilal and Rasha and everybody, Bilal, he used to do everything. Once I helped him in soldering one of the wires, you remember? So, but believe me, whatever here, it has done by the student. I don't have time to do everything. So you need to anyway, why the Western University better than us? Do you think genetic advantage? No one believe me. I have supervised a student from every country. Okay? I haven't seen the English or the British or the Scottish or the German or whatever, even the Irish is not better than us. And this is the proof. I will prove it to you. Okay? Better research training? Yes. Better funding? Definitely. Recruit postdoc? Yes. Recruit on top scientists? Competition? There is competition. Believe me, even within the same department, there are some people, they fight with each other. This one, he wants to publish, the other is not published. This guy, he got a project, he doesn't tell anybody. This is the human, okay? But there is a competition between universities. What do you think? If some university rank third and the other university rank 5, then definitely there will be a competition between them. Career development, of course. Reward, definitely. If you get a project there and get good publication, you could ask for an increment. If they don't give you, you could go somewhere else. If you know you are really, excellent. And then before you get the offer, they will give it to you. So this is very important to have this. Anyway, those are something which is I got from EU diversity, mobility. You could go from one university to another for 3 months, 6 months, and so on. So competition based upon quality, and this is very important. Now, why is research? I have been talking to you, and for the last 1 hour about research. Why this? Why I am bothered with research? Because if there is no research, there is no education. Guys, if you don't do research in minor or massive minor, how are you going to teach your student about massive minor? No way you will be able, unless you go and copy and paste something from Google. You could put massive minor, PPT, you will get a lot of PowerPoint, but you'll not be able to do it as they should. I have done it once, it was terrible. You need to understand things. Research will bring prosperity. Research is an investment in people and wealth. Believe me, if we have research, we could do a lot of things. We could employ people, we could develop certain software. I am sure that the people who came here from, and there are people already, they haven't been even in UK. If you have a proper research institute, you will be able to develop a specific software or hardware, and the biggest company on earth, they will come to you and beg you to buy this. I could assure you that. Knowledge is a base of economy and social policy. As I said, this is research our destiny. I mean, imagine yourself, you have a child and not attend school at 6 years old. Are you going to be happy? If you are happy, then don't forget about research. So, university plus research. I was thinking not to put this, but I need to be honest with myself and with everyone. And I said very little research in Iraqi University. And if you don't agree with me, please tell me. And this is not with Iraqi University, with any university. Just tell me. Look, I have been, and I know a lot of my colleagues. They have a high position, and I know what kind of research. And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you have the excuse. But now you don't have the excuse. You have those people here, and there are others somewhere, and so on. And I'm surprised, really. Where is the media? This is something killing me. Media sometime, if there is a singer or whatever, then you will see 1 hour on TV. Where is the media? Why nobody will talk about research? You know, on BBC there is one guy, he's responsible about everything happening in university. Whatever will happen, you will see it on the BBC, if something to a certain level. Where is the media? University and research. University ranking within Iraqi university is a must. From tomorrow I need to see a list. I'm not a boss, but this is my presentation now. But we need to see who is the best university and who is the worst university. Promotion and the progress of the academic should be mainly on research, not on something, not on your age. I don't care about your age if you are 65 and you are not a researcher and you get a money more than somebody like me, which is 35 years old. I should get money more than you. Yes? Okay, thank you. Awarding high standard PhD in science Iran institution. Give them something. You know, I have this project and I have £20,000 tax free, okay? And no, I can't find a student. And I will pay his fees as well, or her fees. I am struggling to get a student because even they would like to go and work. Why they bother themselves with a PhD? Now why here the students, some of them even they pay money for the university and some of them of course free, but I have messages from some students, they go and pay money from their own pocket to buy oscilloscope or to buy something. Obviously, they will not be able to buy a spectrum analyzer. A top Iraqi expert, you need to utilize them. Always think internationally. Don't think of we need to be better than whatever country around us. Please. So, I think I need to skip this. Do we need a first-class university? There are so many ways we will do it. We could say, okay, let us start with Nahrain now, if we don't have enough money, or let us start from a new university, which you're not going to employ anybody. Unless he's great, I'm not going to employ him. But when I employ him, I will give him what he deserves. Okay? When we will have the best university in the region, in this region, and I would like to see Iraq in Asia, one of the best. And then I would like one day to see one of the Iraqi universities of top 100. And then if I have the vision, then I would like to see Iraq one of the top 50. I was worried to say one of the top university in the world, top 10, because this means that I'm just trying to talk. But this, I could tell you, if you start, you could start, and then you get here, you get there within a few years, and then after 5, 6 years, you get somewhere else, and so on. So research is an urgent matter. Anybody could answer when we're going to start research, now or inshallah? You know the meaning of inshallah? The things will never happen. Believe me. I have a story, if you want I could tell you later, but I can't say it now because there is without an excellent research at the university, Iraq will never progress. Take it from me, okay? If you don't have excellent, because you know the new generation, what they are going to learn. All our, as I said, all our solicitor, engineer, doctors, all of them go here and then they go outside. If we don't have excellent research, we will never be able to progress. And this is one of our problems. So this is my conclusion. Without an excellent research at Iraqi University, Iraq will never ever progress. Tell you that this one was the first slide in my I have this part now. I've forgotten. But I have tried to say about this. This is the research center. This is the most important part. Am I allowed? Huh? No, if you don't, tell me. Huh? No, but this is the main part. This is the main part. Huh? Okay, this is how my idea of building a research center, which is, I called it, it was 15 years ago, it was IRIS. Now, this I changed it to a research center for information and communication technology. And this is my vision, okay? I'm going to do it quickly. I would like to have something here locally where I would be able to depend on the research on them here. And the aim of the research center is to promote locally a research and development in various sectors of ICT. And I would like to have a center of excellence, and I would be able to train people in this. And after, say, a few years, we will be able to have a consultancy session where we will be able to do consultancy, not only in Iran, but we could do it through the region as well, okay? And we could create something like technology-based and new business, some people from the research center, their own companies, and so on. So this is on different stages. I want to concentrate on the research center itself. We need to have something to solve the problem of the government and of the public. There are so many problems we could, if we have this research center, this will be able to solve. We could promote research and collaboration among academia, industry, and national, and so on. Anyway, what the research center will do, we will develop new MSc courses to the age of technology. We will be able to develop a PhD research as well in top technology here. And then if you look, this is how the people spend for their companies. Now this is the things that, as I told you, this is 15 years ago. I was thinking of a technical groups and then some consultancy and then some people who work with management who develop new things. Okay? And I divided them to groups, and this is what I am thinking now about my group. Now forget about this one here. Forget about this one and this one now. I'm now concentrating on this. I don't want, because this could take some money, okay? But this will help me in doing something later on. Let me concentrate on this. And this will not require a lot of money. This will require some money, but not a lot of money. And I in my mind, I mean, this is just my thinking, it might be within the next few months it will change slightly. But I would like to have a group of future network, internet of everything. I would like to have beyond 5 and 6G. I will have cyber security, artificial intelligence. Well, we could use it. We could use it in communication. We could use it in medicine. We could use it in banking. We could use it in any kind of work, any kind of things. We could use it. So we need to have a group. We need to have something called the future technology. We could have intelligent IoT. We could have the futuristic fiber optic. Fiber optics alone, I haven't spoken about it, but it's huge, and we need to see what those people, how many terabyte now they have been able to transmit on one wavelength. And this is the technology consulting. I don't want to go through this because this will take time and technical business. I don't want to take it because, as I said, this the next stage, maybe after 5 years, 10 years, I don't know. Right, now where I'm going to get the money. This is what I thought. It might be wrong. Correct me. And I thought I am going to see some people from industry. I don't think there is anybody from industry. I think there is some people from operators. I was thinking operators, you have 3 operators here to give us 10% of what we need. And we're not going to ask you much, maybe a few millions only, a few millions dollars. And let me say, if you give me 3 millions now, I could start. Even maybe, if Dr. Fauzi will allow me 2 millions for you, we could start as well. But as you give me more money, we could make it upper. There are so many companies here. I could tell you, they have a profit. And I have figures, guys, because I know guys within the operator and within the company. And they told me, do you know how much they used to have money profit a few years ago? Okay. There is a law in every country. Any company or operator, they should have percentage of their profit to research and development. Why this law is not applicable in Iraq? I need an answer if you know an answer for me. Please, Ammar, if you know an answer, then let me know later on. Okay? And then, because I know telecom, maybe they don't have money. I mean, I put this here 1% because, you know, this is, telecom is next to us. The oil company, the oil Ministry of Oil, they have a lot of money. If they will give us 1% of 2 million, Dr. Fauzi, okay, how much 1%? It's nothing. What about CMC? Anyway, this was different 15 years ago, and my dream was great, but now I put it like this, and as I said, I dropped it to 2 million. And I think the government should have a responsibility. And anybody, when we finish, not now, will tell me why I put the government. If you look to the word government, you will see that there is not single color have been repeated. Each letter with different colors. Okay? When you have the answer, let me know. Now, before I leave you, of course, thank you very much. But let me show you the proof. And you can't do it. You guys, you can't do it. But we need a power to deliver this. And I could bet you, if you go to any, my research group is very small. I mean, okay, in the whole research group we have about 50 researchers. But if you go to any other university and look to here, this is the publication in 2017 and 19. Okay, and I have done this in March, so I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't put any paper which is not IEEE. We have IET, we have Elsevier. I haven't put it. I took it out, then nobody will say anything. But let me go one by one, and those are my students. I haven't brought this as a reference, because all of them is, my name is here. But if you look here, if you look to the first one, this guy, he is now here, okay? Not in this room, somewhere, I don't know where, maybe in Baghdad or somewhere. And then if you go to the second name, which is, I'm so sorry, I haven't brought your slide. Okay, this is one of the greatest students as well. He's sitting somewhere here, I don't know where he's sitting. And then this is another student from Iraq, but he's still there. This guy, he is here. This guy, he is here. Okay, let me show you what else. Then another, this guy, you see some of them, they publish 2 or 3. And I could tell you, I have been more than, about 30 years in academia in UK. If a student will publish one IEEE, I will be very happy, okay? And if you publish 2, I will be, because I will get money from it. No, I will not get money, but this means that the students are great. When you sit in the Viva, they will do everything in the Viva, and I will be relaxing. And there are some students, they don't tell anybody, please. If you look to this student, he is here. If you look to this is not here, he is not Iraqi. This one, he is Iraqi as well. You see this one is similar to the one, this one as well is Iraqi, but not here. If you look to this here as well, this one, a great student. And you are in the Ministry of Telecom. Okay, and this is here, another student, which is both of them, they are here. This one is still a student with me, and then this one is again here. You see, this one published twice. And then, again, Bilal again, okay, and another great student here, okay, is here as well. He's Iraqi. This one is Iraqi as well. This one is Iraqi, this one is Iraqi, okay? And then, again, Bilal, I don't know what's happening. This is copy and paste. This one as well Iraqi, and then this one as well Iraqi. To be honest, I'm so proud. I'm not saying all my students are great, or I have examined few students as well. But some of them really. Now, before I finish, if Mr. Chairman allow me to say one thing. Could I ask you to recite the Fatiha? One of the students who is not mine, but I have been external examiner for him. He was a great person, and he passed away yesterday. So please recite it.
على روح دكتور سيف أحمد عبد الله. آسف ياسر أحمد عبد الله. شكرا جزيلا، بارك الله فيك، بارك الله فيك.
I just want to say something, and thank you for everybody. But there is one thing, to be honest, I was thinking when I come here, and I wasn't think I would be able even to say one something, because what happened yesterday really shocked me. I saw my own face in the conference, and have helped each other. And they told me about this news, and I was thinking to call Dr. Abdul and Dr. Amin to say sorry, but then I say I put the exam, so I need to come here. So please excuse me if I have done something wrong. Thank you very much.
شكرا جزيلا.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, thank you very much, Professor. شكرا جزيلا للحضور. One of the things we need to, I'll talk in English and in Arabic for everyone. One of the things we need to declare now is that we will adopt your idea of creating a small unit for research in the College of Information Engineering. We will create a virtual, not society, groups of interested people, and in every field you have mentioned here. I will not promise you that we will bring $2 million or $3 million, but we will provide the tools and the space for making this successful. وإن شاء الله يعني هذه الوحدة راح نطلق عليها وحدة صغيرة للاتصالات وأبحاث الاتصالات وأبحاث الإنترنت الأشياء. إن شاء الله تبدي كنوات من كلية هندسة المعلومات، وإن شاء الله تتعمم على بقية الجامعة. هذا أولا. Secondly, يعني I would like personally and on behalf of my staff and instructors and professors and the college to thank you very much for your presence here, and it was a great pleasure for us to having you, and we will not stop here. We will always be in full contact with you and the other researchers in foreign university. أتقدم أيضا بالشكر إلى كلية الهندسة الحقيقة اللي يعني أنقذونا بآخر لحظة وأعطونا القاعة، ويعني أشكر السيد عميد كلية الهندسة شخصيا حقيقة لاستجابته السريعة يعني البارحة. شكرا جزيلا لحضوركم، وشكرا للسيد رئيس الجامعة.
الآن تقديم درع الكلية للأستاذ الدكتور حامد. نعم فقط الدرع، ماكو غير.
ماكو فلوس؟ قاعدة على حساب
شكرا جزيلا للحضور، بارك الله فيكم. تفضل بالضيافة الموجودة.
على حساب كل الحضور لا لا مو